I think that strength finding is one of the most underrated aspects of business, where it's like, I know what I'm not good at. And immediately on every business that I've ever set out to do, I have had a integrator that is with me from day one. And so I do think that instead of that email that's just wearing on me that I don't want to send because I'm terrible at the administrative part and typing out and doing all that stuff, I need to make sure I've got a team from the start. And you can do that even if you're a solo person launching out. You can work with, if it's a person overseas or anything, you can find somebody that is going to help you keep yourself accountable, but then also do those things that are the mind blocks that instead of doing that email, you end up going to Instagram for 2 hours because you have a mind block against it.
Can we talk about that? Because I think we're getting to this point where Corey and I, we need to hire that person.
Yeah.
And we've done, I know some people are like, you guys don't already have an assistant. That's crazy. And because we're managing, it is crazy because we've tried it and in certain aspects. At one point we were doing creative financing. We had a VA team that would do cold calls for us, right? And then we'd field the calls, we'd try to close them, et cetera. But like in our business, to free up our calendars, to reply to emails, to do things, there's just so many different tasks that we can offload. We're trying to figure out exactly what they are. But can you talk us through the process? It's hard to find someone overseas that we trust.
Yes.
So I want someone locally in the States that at least can understand what we're talking about, because a lot of the SOPs and things you tried to explain, they still don't understand it. And I'm like, I'm not spending my time managing this person when I'm supposed to be getting my time back. It feels like I'm losing more time.
You're going to lose time, especially if you're hiring somebody who you don't know inherently, you don't trust, right? There is so much lost time. I remember trying to find an assistant. I was just thinking, I am spending so much time telling them what to do. I'm losing time in a net aspect. I just would say you've got to actually trust that process. Like, you've got to trust. And I think from a hiring perspective, I mentioned how I hired people that I know. There are oftentimes people that you know in your circle that would be willing to add 10, 15 hours a day of, a week, to their week that you could bring into your circle and that you might have a little bit more trust equity built up with right away. I agree it's tough when they're on the other side of the world. But even if they are, it's going to take time to bring in those integrators. And I think it's a necessity for anybody who's actually wanting to start something.
I got one more on this. It's hard to put a value on this, right? But what do you pay a person like that to come in? Let's just say, so for example, I have someone in my mind that is on the West Coast. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's helped us with some projects. And I really don't ever have to worry about her. She's really quick on the ball. She's interested in real estate. She's an entrepreneur herself. And I'm thinking about weaving her into our business at some point. And we're trying to figure out how can I put a value on this? How do you know what to pay someone without like lowballing them?
Yep.
Also show the value and like motivate them to want to be part of the team.
Yep. I oftentimes have said, I'm thinking that this would work for me from a compensation. Let's say I'm saying, hey, I've got $300 to spend in a week. Does that work for you? And asking people what they actually want. So many times people are not always motivated strictly by money. If you're a friend who's on the West Coast, it's figuring out what they want. Maybe it's that they need a schedule that's going to work for them. Maybe it's, it's so many things outside of compensation are actually driving forces for teammates. And so we've tried to figure out, what are your biggest things that you're trying to get out of this job or out of this gig that you're maybe doing? And sometimes you look at the Uber driver, right? They're driving for Uber. They don't love doing that. They're not getting what they want. You could find that same Uber driver, give them the same money that they're making in Uber, but actually give them what they're looking for, which is maybe the ability to work from home or the ability to do things along that line, work with their mind, not with their body. And I think that's what a lot of times people are looking for, even outside of compensation. But I like to say, here's what I'm thinking. What are you looking for?
I love that, man. And thank you. Cause I always go straight to the money, and it's so dumb.
It is always to the money. You're right. Yeah.
So dumb because, and I say it's dumb, but it's naive in the fact I know what I need on a daily basis. Now I have a child in the mix and my wife works part-time, and I'm like, it's not about the money so much. It's the time freedom. It's like, how do you work your life into the job? Right. And so, or the job into your life. And I think for her, it's just the only thing that would give me fear is the time difference from, it's actually Arizona, funny enough, to Philly. And I'm like, is this going to work? We've already had trouble with that with our producer who once lived in California. It felt like he was behind the ball on a lot of things because of the time difference. So it's like, it's a struggle. But I really think what I do value is the answer you gave is like, don't go straight for the money. Ask them what they're looking for and how it would impact their life. And there's also an underlying motivation too for people that have been riding with you for a while and like they just want to be part of the brand.
1,000,000%.
Just be around you, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it can be friends, family members. I kind of try to stay away from that because then once you get them in the mix, like if it doesn't work out, how do you get them out? So I try to go like a little bit of a balance. And I try. We've only done this a couple times, and like it's an interesting balance. I don't know if you've ever hired family or friends or
always a lot. And I think that what I would say with that is setting checkpoints and saying like, we're going to do this for a couple months, and we're going to, ride with this good, bad, or ugly. But then we're going to have a checkpoint here at the end of this quarter, or at the end of this year, and we're going to see how this works. This might not be right for you. It might not be right for us. We're okay with whatever that is. We're going to start here, and we're going to start somewhere. And I've hired so many folks that I care about, and the thing that I know is that our relationship's going to be good at the end of this, no matter where the end is, whether it's in 3 months or whether it's in 30 years. And I just feel like those check-ins, the people that you care about, let them know I care about you, but let's start something. Let's not so much worry about, is this going to go terribly? Let's say we'll figure that out, and we'll make sure to give proper check-ins.